Hey, what's up, everybody? So, my name is Russell Roberts, and this is Stephanie Kelly,
Hi.
and this is the Unfringed podcast. We are not libtards, but we are sibtards, aka siblings.
We are sibtards, that's for
So,
sure.
we've had the veil pulled back on us probably roughly around 2019, around the same time,
Yeah.
and we've been talking about the same crazy shit that's going on in the world
Over and over and over.
for the last 5 years. So we decided, hey, let's get online,
Let's
post
get
it. So this is our first episode. We have no idea what we're
there. No,
doing,
none.
but
These are
we're gonna work it out as we go. So bear with us and bear witness to fucking greatness.
Okay, I was gonna start by asking you a question. So what did you think about our government before COVID? What was the role of the government? Did you think about it at all?
I had no idea. I didn't care about it. I was too busy partying, which was my own issues, my own personal issues there. But I didn't even think about the government. I didn't think about politics. I don't really think about anything. I don't think I voted in 2016. Yeah, I don't. I didn't.
When's the first time you voted? Have you voted?
Yeah. I'd say 2020 when I started seeing everything getting kind of crazy. I was like, I better vote for this dude.
Yeah,
So
just in case it matters.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I didn't think about it at all. I was not. Now, when it comes to like, I knew there was a deep state. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
I knew that there was some
Like
shady
JFK
characters.
stuff
I
and
just didn't know how deep the deep state
I
went.
know.
You know what I
I know
mean?
it's satanic. It's crazy.
Who was the first person you voted for?
Barack Obama.
Oh, okay.
Barack
See,
Obama.
I can't remember. I don't think I even voted then.
hmm
You know?
Well, I remember our mother being extremely excited about a black president and how, it represented so much, especially Democrats. That our grandparents were Democrats. We were
Hardcore.
raised Democrat. It was just a part of who you were, like your last name.
Yeah.
Papa and Gran were Democrats. And it was usually a more liberal stance, more loving stance. You thought it was kind of wrapped up in compassion,
Yeah. That's what I
to
always.
vote Democrat.
That's what I'm saying. I would love to see their thoughts on it
Yeah,
now.
I know. It would
Because
be
they were
crazy.
pretty. They could see through bullshit pretty well.
Well, she especially. And she was really into the government and really into the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
And I remember little, theories that she would have and comments she would make. But it would be very interesting to see where she stands
Oh yeah,
now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean
And
honestly,
mom, too.
yeah, I think her entire idea of especially the Democratic Party would completely flip. But
hmm
at this point, but it's crazy. It's like I was saying the other day. So you've got Dick Cheney endorsing Kamala, and you've got RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard on the campaign trail with Donald Trump.
Right.
So I mean, it's not really Republican and Democrat.
Right. Well,
It's
it's
really
shifting
establishment versus
versus.
non-establishment.
But so, don't you find it so interesting that there is droves of people that cannot see that they're not able to
Yeah,
see that there is a machine churning,
yeah, and
and
that
they're
they could
still
be
relying on
wrong,
policies that aren't real policies.
and
You
that
know.
they could be wrong about what they think. And it's like I say, there's something innate in people that they can't admit when they're wrong, so
Right.
they double down,
Right.
and that's what trips me out.
Right. And they say it's a lot about tribalism and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
I'll be honest, I have had really a lot of prayer and thought about pulling myself out of our own Republican silo,
Yeah.
and listening to the same voices and the same ideas and the same clips. So I'm trying to really realize that there are very wide perspectives on both sides, but there's more of a concern with this election because I feel like we're not going to have the chance to slow this machine down if we don't have like a foot in the door with Trump. If we don't have
Yeah.
somebody that's willing to just stop the
Yeah.
establishment, they're clearly not going to let this dude win.
Like how he kind of slowed down their agenda
Right. He didn't
for
know
those
what he was doing or how deep it went,
for
I'm
those
sure,
four
because
years.
none of us.
Oh yeah, he's learned a lot
Well,
more
none
now.
of us out here know anything, but the government knows all this stuff that they've been doing, whether it's Zionist or
Yeah,
pedophilia or protection. And, like they always say, like Trump is so frustrating to me because I do not care for him personally, like on a personality level. I think he's hilarious. I think he means well. I think he's a good man, a good leader, a strong leader.
He's
But
not a good speaker, and he's not
yeah,
articulate, and
he's
that's
just
that's a tough problem for
his
him.
ego is way too big. And I know that takes ego. I know it does to run a country, to run a business, to run
I'd say I won the debate, and I'm like, no, I don't think so,
no,
brother.
you did. No, she pretty much mobbed you. Okay.
Well, all three of them
All three of
mocked
them
him.
did, yeah. But that's what I'm talking about. To not be in a vacuum of Republican talking points. I saw that debate and went, oh, shit.
Oh, it was frustrating.
She definitely whooped him because she hurt his ego. I think, she
Yeah.
came out and bruised his ego right away.
Well, and I
And it
think,
worked.
and I think once he saw the game that the
It's crazy.
moderators were playing, that kind of helped him get
Yes,
angry.
I think so.
He was
And
like,
also them not ever bringing up his attempted
yeah,
assassination. I
yeah,
mean, that's a huge deal. Back in our grandparents' day, or even mom and dad's day, no matter what side of the table you were on, Democrat, Republican, Independent, if somebody on either party was attempted to be assassinated, it was devastating for
they
the
would
country.
acknowledge
Yes,
it.
they
It's
would.
crazy.
Even if they were a part of the problem, they would acknowledge
Yeah, I mean, I think it went on for
it.
about 3 days, and then they quit talking about it.
Yeah,
All the mainstream media anyway.
yeah, yeah.
So, and then here we are. Like yesterday, I was saying, well, what could we talk about today? And then we started getting
Oh,
notifications that Trump had an assassinate again.
assassination attempt again. Yeah. And then if you look up the guy who did it, the Wesley Ralph or
Yeah,
whatever his
uh,
name is, and how
Ryan Wesley
brainwashed,
Ruth.
yes, and how brainwashed he has been and indoctrinated he has been. And yeah, it's just terrible. I think all of us have known that this internet was going to bring a lot of more evil than possibly the good because these kids get on here and they get inundated with all of this information and all this radicalism and all it. I mean, not just kids, adults too. But
Yeah,
then they feel like then like the FBI and the CIA or whoever the three-letter words are, companies are, go into those
the bureaucracy.
and they go into the websites of these radicalized people and they push it and push it and
Yeah,
push
their
it just like they did
algorithms.
January 6th.
Yeah, the algorithms and
And they
shit.
have fake people in there like going, oh, you
Oh
should
yeah,
totally do
bots.
this.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's interesting to know how that gets started. But
It's like taking a sick person and putting them in a space where all of their worst temptations are going to be there and
yeah,
then wondering why they go and shoot and kill. You know what I mean? I
right.
don't know.
Well, and
That's
that's the thing is like his son said he's not a radical person. He's always been a good guy. But when I watched that Twitter you sent me of him talking about going to Ukraine and fighting for Ukraine, you can just see the mind bending brainwashing he was going through.
absolutely. And that he believes that wholeheartedly, that he's there for such a time as that.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's really insane. And we're also mentally sick. There's so much unhealthiness
yeah.
going on around America that I just feel like it's super easy to capture the brains
Yeah,
of
absolutely. I
people.
mean, and that's what I was so excited about RFK saying, "Make America healthy again."
I know.
Not that I eat healthy or I am healthy.
Right,
I
but I
eat
mean,
terrible.
it's still a great message. It's a
Yeah,
better message than fast food and I don't know, microwave meals and
the
all the shit
the
we grew up
poisoning.
with.
Yeah, the
I mean,
the poisoning.
we didn't know, and that's one of the things that I feel very passionately devastated by is the fact that they've been doing this and turning this machine, and we
From
didn't
all
know.
angles, from all
Yeah,
kinds of
from all
angles.
angles and to hurt and not to help. So one of my questions is, where were the Christians that were supposedly help build the nation? Did they get sold out too? Did they get corrupted by money? I mean, I know
I'm
the
sure
answers are
some.
yes,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like they obviously did not have the kind of impact and influence we thought they were having as a nation. I mean, I kind of am shocked that God's been removed and that prayer is
oh yeah,
so foreign and that I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't seem, we weren't really raised in any kind of major religion or any kind of household. We had the basics.
well, it's just the way I mean, learning, 20 years later how the school system is working now when COVID
Right.
happened, I was like blown away. I was like, they don't
Right.
even say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore.
That's what I mean. Like, how did we not bear witness to the fact that all of these little things are being removed so slowly? And where are the parents back then that went, Oh hell no! I'm not
Well,
gonna remove
well,
prayer
yeah,
festival.
and that's what, like, I don't know. I wonder if my friends who have kids started noticing that, or knew that they were taking the Pledge of Allegiance out of school,
I
or
doubt it. Who
anything
knows?
like that. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I don't know.
I don't either. I don't have kids, so.
I do have to share a story. We were in Michigan the other day, and we have I have a nephew, and he goes to the Michigan school system. It's
Hmm.
in Sterling Heights. It's a nicer area, Troy, actually, Troy, Michigan, and they're pretty liberal in those kind of areas.
Yeah,
They're very
yeah,
it's a
Michigan.
swing state, but they're pretty democratic.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he goes on to tell this story about how there's a litter box in the bathroom, and all of us as family members, both from both sides of the coin, are looking
Right.
at him like he's got to be joking.
Yeah.
Like this, there's no way, Michael. That's
Yeah.
a little much. And he's like, no, I'm dead serious.
That's
I went to
what.
go pee in the bathroom the beginning of school year last year, and he said there was a litter box in the corner and a kid squatting above the litter box and his pants and fully dressed, just pretending, and that he has to like uncomfortably go into a stall. I mean,
That's
I don't know about
bizarre.
you, but
I w- Surely they don't do that here in Texas.
I have no idea. We would like to
Surely
know
they don't.
if y'all have a closet full of dress up clothes, not in theater class, but and like Sari had told me that they had closets full of clothes for when the kids got to school. If they wanted to be a boy or a girl versus what they really were, they could do
What?
that. Yeah. So it's
What?
like all that kind of stuff that we grew up like. You better wear this and not wear this to school, and then you go and change in the bathroom,
Yeah.
but on steroids. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's wild, dude.
crazy.
It will so and then what, like animal costumes?
All kinds. She said there were furries, there were boy clothes for girls, girl clothes for boys. I mean, just and I love a good imagination. And if it wasn't shoved in everyone's face, it's not a big deal to
Well, if it
be who
was
you want to be.
presented as like a thing to, exercise imagination, that'd be a different story
Exactly, exactly.
than if, like, no, this is who your identity
I
is.
know, and we should respect that. I mean, I don't know about you, but when we were growing up, it was the opposite. You respected the people ahead of you, your elders, your
Oh
parents,
yeah.
the leaders. Da, da, da. They didn't have to turn around and then cater to our need.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah, it
kind of
is
weird.
weird. It is weird.
So there's just a lot going on that doesn't make a lot of sense, and I do know that Satan is the source of all confusion. So I think there's a link there.
There's definitely a deeper spiritual thing going on for sure.
So tell us about what you found out on Redacted.
So when I woke up this morning, I started watching a clip from Redacted, which is a great podcast by Clayton and Natalie Morris. And so what they were talking about was the non-government organizations on there, and how they're in charge of the polling locations now. So the violent Venezuelan gangs.
Which isn't odd, I have to say. There have always been nonprofits and churches that would do the polling
Non-government
polls.
organization. Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Just be out of it's supposed to be the citizens
Yeah.
helping the community, but go ahead.
Well, yeah. There's an investigative journalist named Ryan Mata, and he was talking about how the NGOs. It's very intricate. The NGOs are getting funded from FEMA, and when it comes to Aurora, Colorado, apparently the director of FEMA used to be the emergency manager for the city of Aurora, Colorado.
Wait,
So
say that again.
the director of FEMA used to be the emergency manager for the city of Aurora, Colorado.
That's
So
crazy.
everything's all connected, and it
Right.
makes sense as to why Aurora is going through the stuff that Aurora is going through the
Mhm.
stuff that they're going through.
Or why they
Um,
were allowed
Certain
to.
cities are getting hit harder than other
Right.
cities,
Right.
and a lot of it is because these people are all connected and connected to those cities. But the NGOs, they're raking in record profits under the Biden administration. That some of them have tripled revenue, and the government cannot aid and abet illegal immigrants lawfully. So they
Right.
bring in the NGOs to do that
To do
sort
the
of thing.
work for
And
them.
so instead of
And then they fund them. They
yeah,
give them
and
massive donations.
yes, yeah, they give them
It's
massive
crazy.
donations, and then the NGOs end up being the ones that are trafficking around the migrants, and they're paying to house them all.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's going on there. It's just interesting
Because
to
I
realize
have wondered lots about how are these people getting past just normal citizens? Like Like if there was a gang of Venezuelans walking through Grapevine, Texas, aren't they going to protect their families and shoot? Like, how are there not more shootings? How is there not
Oh,
more? Well, that's kind of off subject, but what I mean is like I've been wondering how so many people literally show up on one town, and that's part of the
yeah,
process.
yeah. Well, like where they all get sent to like one
Like who
town and
okays
overrun
that?
it. Well, and a lot of these are
Oh
sanctuary
yeah,
cities as
sanctuary
well. So
cities.
like we don't see it as often because we're not sanctuary city for
Right.
sure.
Thank God.
But but they were
Sounds
saying,
so rude, but still.
but now they're saying that the NGOs that are facilitating the migrants and trafficking them around are now in charge of the polling stations for the 2024 election, which
Yes.
is crazy because so now you've got these government organizations that are complicit in the immigration invasion of the United States, in charge of the polling. So I mean, what's to say they can't say just drop off a bunch of
Of
illegals and say
course.
do your ballot? You know what I
Right.
mean, or however that goes.
And they're not I mean, they're complicit, but they're also benefiting
Yeah,
financially
yeah,
from it. So it's like, it's like anything. The more that somebody gives you the funds to do what you want to do, the more they're going to continue to work for you. I don't know. Yeah, that's fascinating.
Well, what's crazy too is that like, and I didn't write it down, but he was talking about tens of thousands of children that go missing
Oh, yeah.
because of the immigration. So I mean, you had people back in 2016 that were like they're being separated from their families and they're being put
Right.
in these cages.
Right.
They're being taken to traffic for all kinds of crazy illegal shit.
And also
So
crazy illegal elites and people that have all of that money are the ones that can afford those kind of perversions and sick things and twisted things.
the trafficking is
Yeah,
just
I was gonna say the
is
trafficking has
massive.
been mind blowing,
Yeah,
and to know because what is the '80s, the milk cartons and all that kind
yeah,
of kid. You start as you grow up to realize, oh my gosh, people can be kidnapped and
yeah,
kids can be taken off the street, and it's just gotten more and more
yeah.
insane.
We used.
We
I mean, back in our childhood, though, it was like it was one creepy dude. Now it's like you're starting to realize there's an entire system
Right.
set up.
Right.
To,
It's not the neighborhood guy. He
no,
molests you. He can do that as well,
it's not
but
Uncle Rod.
right. It's not. It's not. But yeah, it's just nuts because you're right. We always grow up thinking, it's the creepy house down the street or the uncle that, shouldn't be in the family or, something like that. But
Some creepy.
really, it's a complete and total
Yeah, that's coming
organized
from the top
system.
down. I mean,
Yeah.
if that's anything we learned from Epstein, that's the biggest thing we've
And
learned.
then think about how they're still protecting that list.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why Trump is being assassinated over or trying to whatever
Oh,
you call it, attempted.
that would be a good
Well,
theory because
he
he
was
came
on
out.
there and
Yeah.
said, yeah, and I didn't even care for his answer at that time because was it Lex Friedman? I think another great podcast. Asked him straight up, would you, what is it called? Reveal the Epstein list.
Yeah, disclose.
Disclose the Epstein list, and he was like, well, there's some reasons why people do that," and I was like, "Oh no, we need
Yeah,
people to start dropping
we need
names. We
you to say.
need leaders to start going.
Yeah.
I will expose. Not only will I expose everybody on the list, but I will call out every single name because that's the
Yeah.
honesty is the way out. I have learned in my trauma in my life that the best way to bridge trauma and to get out of evilness is by being honest,
The
being
truth.
completely
Let the
truthful.
truth come to light.
Yeah, so like the only way we're going to win this war against our children and against our government, against our country is by being honest. These guys that are in the high rank and women that are in the high rank up, up there, whether
Yeah.
it's military or education system or um, politicians, they need to start dropping fucking names.
What's in the
dude.
shadows may come to light, or however that goes.
Yeah, it'll always come to light. It says that. What's in the dark will always be exposed.
Yeah.
And it is starting to be exposed. So for
Well,
that, I'm so grateful.
Definitely feels like a major shift going on, and you've got some people that are getting out there and leading the way, and starting to uh, let everything out and investigate things
Well,
that need
and
to be
like that,
investigated.
we were saying like the Trump thing and Epstein. I mean, that's probably that. I mean,
That's a
I've
big
heard
one.
that is a huge thing, and it's going to have everyone shaking in their boots.
Yeah, what did Megan Kelly said? She
Yeah,
said
she said there's a
more's
video
going to come
coming
from it.
out from Epstein's own mouth that will be
Which is
released.
interesting. So maybe he made a video before
I
his
bet he did.
suicide.
Yeah.
Maybe he made a video before the suicide.
And that's the other mind blowing thing, these like 3-letter agencies and how,
The
we know
bureaucracy.
that they have all this technology,
Yeah.
but yet they can't make sure Epstein stays alive. They can't stop somebody from shooting Trump in the
Yeah.
head. They can't stop these fucking high schoolers that are being brainwashed to go shoot. They have no idea, even though they have every bit of their online presence. I mean, they can crack into any of our stuff.
They can arrest grandma from January 6th that just walked into the Capitol because she was let in.
Yeah,
She
obviously.
was let in.
And that's a whole nother thing. And it's interesting because there's so many different levels to this. So I'd have to get my thoughts around who was explaining it, but it was basically how in acting there's it was actually movies, and they were talking about how there's different levels of seeing through. And so, like, say there's multi-dimensional ideas, right? Well, some people can only see one layer
Yeah.
deep,
Yeah.
and other people who watch that movie will see, oh,
This has got
Jane,
another.
there's another layer to this, right?
Yeah.
And then there's another layer to this. So it's like there's little baby steps. Like, we bitch and moan about the politicians, and that's very important. But like we were talking about earlier, there's really a whole system unseen,
Yeah.
in play too.
Yeah. An
At play
entire
too.
deep state. And like
Well, no, and
there's a lot of
spiritual
bad
too.
actors. Oh yeah.
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 But
Yeah.
all of that, like all of those multi-dimensional layers, and then thinking about just your average Joe having to not only jump through that and see, reveal the veil or lift the veil, but to get out of their comfort zone
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
say, "Oh, the world's falling
Ignorance
apart."
is bliss.
Yeah.
So I mean, I
Yeah.
look back and I think, God, I wish I hadn't figured all this stuff out or started paying
Right, because
attention.
you can't really unsee
And a lot of
anymore.
people don't want to know and they don't want to pay
I
attention
mean, I
because
had
it
my
can get so dark.
mother-in-law say it today. I mean, when we went on the trip, she
Yeah.
said to me, "I just don't want to know. There's nothing." Her exact words were, "If there's nothing I can do about it, then I don't want to know."
Yeah, and a lot of people have that attitude. I can't help it, man. I can't
It's
I
too
can't stop paying
fascinating. And
attention.
also, there are things you can do about it. There are.
Yeah. Well,
So,
everybody collectively and, all getting together and lifting the veil, that's a big part of it.
yeah.
So,
So all of the people that have tried to bring us out of this stuff has all been
oh
assassinated.
yeah, I know. And that's another thing is I was watching and they were talking about how so many people who had started to bring everybody together
Yeah.
end up getting assassinated.
Every one of
You
them.
know, and so you start kind of seeing in a lot of senses that the black community has been wanting to vote for Trump now,
Right.
more so than ever, and that was kind of the Democratic Party's, that was their backup right there,
Right.
or you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know.
Oh, it's true. I mean, we didn't really know. I didn't really know that until all of this, that the black community is encouraged to vote Democrat. I
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah.
that until
Well, I heard about it. I mean, I had heard about it from the civil
I mean,
rights
it makes
movement and
sense
everything.
because Republicans have always been kind of dicks,
But
right?
but which is interesting because Frederick Douglass, an amazing historical black figure, started the Republican Party, and I didn't know that till
Really?
recently. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Frederick Douglass. Look at
And also, the Republican Party is the party that freed slaves.
yeah,
and that
it's
did
it's very
those sort
strange.
of
It doesn't make a
things.
whole lot of sense to me, man.
Yeah.
But
And that's a whole other topic as far as race goes. Jeez. But yeah.
well, yeah. So and you know what else is interesting is I noticed that the guy that attempted to assassinate Trump yesterday
Mhm.
was Ryan Wesley Ruth, right?
Mhm.
What was the other guy's name?
Which one?
The one from the other guy's name that from Pennsylvania.
That just recently
Yeah.
tried.
It was Jeffrey or no, something Thomas Cook.
So 3 names.
Yeah, dude.
Mhm.
And that's just like John Wilkes Booth or what's his name? Oswald. They all go by 3 names.
3 names.
What's
I
up
don't
with that?
know.
That's very
I haven't
strange.
noticed that, but
I was
that's
like,
true.
what?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, and so the guy had a GoPro set up.
Yeah. So what have you learned about this one? Because I don't really know.
He had a GoPro set
At the
up.
golf course,
had-
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, had an AK-47, 2 backpacks, and one of the Secret Service agents saw a muzzle sticking through the fence, and that's how they caught him.
Isn't
You know-
it strange that they didn't kill him though, just like the other one?
They said he took off.
Oh no, they did
They
kill the
did
other
kill
one.
the. No, this guy's actually alive, which is they can
Interesting.
maybe get some answers. Who knows if they
Well,
will? But
that's true. I didn't think about that.
yeah, he started taking off, and they apprehended him. And it's interesting because was it. It was I think, and I could be wrong. The FBI director was doing a press conference, and he was talking about how well Trump's not the president now, so he doesn't have as beefed up security as he would if he was the president right now. And it's like the guy's like the number one target
In the
in the
world.
world,
Yeah.
and he's already survived one
I know.
assassination attempt, dude. Like
I know.
these FBI three-letter agencies, man, the bureaucracy, they it's so obvious how corrupt they are.
I want
It's
to know
insane.
how what sorry. I know that Whitney Webb, that's somebody that's really able to teach people about
Yeah,
this whole thing. But I want to know when they started to change. I think you and I have kind of researched it back to World War II, pretty much when the dynamics started to change, where America
that's
decided that they were.
that's like I think that's the birth of the military-industrial complex.
And also, yeah, the UN sort of pushing for
Yeah,
United Nations and using that to advance America instead of all people, all
yeah,
countries. Like,
a whole globalist effort.
yeah, and just well, no, but like America is, there's no surprise. It's not surprising that people are pissed at America.
Yeah, no, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, and that's what Jimmy Dore would always say, or he
Right,
always says. It's like, how about we stop going into other countries to destroy them, and then
right,
bring in the refugees here to America? Why don't
right,
we just help? And I thought that too. Like, we should be over there helping build their economies,
right, and help
and
actually
we're not.
assisting,
We're
but
stealing
because we
their
want
resources.
oil,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's fascinating.
it's fascinating.
Especially
It's effed
because
up.
we're all on a very basic level in our society. We really are raised as do good unto others.
Yeah,
Treat people how you would want to be treated.
yeah,
Be a fair person. Be a righteous person. Don't take advantage of people. And meanwhile, the entire system is rigged against us.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
taking advantage. They're using evil sources. They're doing all
yeah.
of this stuff to line their pockets, and we're just dummies. I just feel like
Paying
dumb.
them,
I know, I
just
know,
paying them.
I know. And how frustrating is that? And these taxes, I don't know that people until now have realized that a lot of these taxes we pay into are going to immigrants.
Yeah, well, they're going to in the wars, and they're not going to the infrastructure of America anymore,
Right,
which is so frustrating.
right,
Like
right.
that's what we initially were paying taxes for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to better
To
assist our
help out the
lives.
country. That's the thing is the founding fathers, they were not interventionists, man. They didn't want anything to
Right,
do with
good point.
the other countries and the whole
That's
global
why they
agenda.
left,
Yeah,
right? That's
yeah.
why I mean, nothing's perfect, but that was the goal, and that's the goal stated in the
They didn't. They
Constitution.
wanted their own sovereign nation.
Right.
So
No,
and now and it's crazy how it's come circled back around to now America's the global leader.
and let me ask you this. So this is a little devil's advocate that I play with myself a lot. If let's just pretend like there's nothing wrong with not having borders, or let's just pretend like this is the trajectory of the globe,
Mhm.
is that we are supposed to be
Oh,
all
all
one,
one.
all one.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Well, see, that's what and I've thought about that too. Is like I think that we're supposed to evolve into one,
Peaceful
yeah,
nation. I
one
mean, I
one
don't know if
peaceful
that'll
planet.
ever
Like
happen.
I can see that on the grander scheme of things. Like when you talk about space and galaxies and stuff, we are supposed to come together as one people. But I think it's the way that they're going about it
Right.
is so totally wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
And then also, is that working? Like, I wonder if I mean it feels like the only way you can go about global governance is by killing off everybody who doesn't believe in that.
well,
You
yeah,
know?
well, it's just I don't, man, it's
And
just
China and Russia and people like that are never gonna.
they
They're
want
not
a
gonna.
sovereign
They want their own
state.
sovereign nation.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It seems like China wants to take over the entire globe as well. I don't know. That
Yeah,
stuff
but they're
gets
cool
really
about it.
confusing and stuff. That stuff
They're really
gets
good at it.
yeah. That's well, they're doing it economically
Oh yeah.
as opposed to through war, and we've
Well,
been
they
doing
did
it
it
through
through
war.
war, their own civil war. I mean, I have
Well, yeah,
studied
no,
that.
yeah,
And within 30 years, their entire nation was completely modernized and functions like a well-oiled machine. Of course,
it's
under the
crazy.
guise of communism and
Yeah,
what that does to just an individual people that can't ever promote themselves or have an like we're so lucky that we're capitalist. I mean, I am not the most successful person in the world, but I'm glad for the people that can invent things and
well,
do
that's what
what
I
they
was saying.
do.
I don't want the opportunity of prosperity to get ripped away from people who weren't born with a silver spoon, and that's my biggest thing.
Right, right.
That's
And
the whole
that's what's
point of
so
America.
wild. It's like Kamala and these people getting up on stage and trying to, like, oh, you're just a rich kid, a silver spoon kid, da 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 da
Uh, I'm tired. I was raised middle class. Like,
Bitch, you're
no,
not
you weren't.
anymore.
Well,
You're
she
not
wasn't in the
anymore.
first
Well,
place.
I don't know. I haven't
She
studied
grew up
anything
in
about her.
Canada.
Right. So what's up with
That's what
that?
I'm
I
saying.
don't get
And
that.
she keeps repeating the same thing. Like, listen, I was a middle class kid.
My mom was a single mom. They bought a house. I
They were
don't know
both
about
professors.
right, and I don't know about you. That's exactly what I thought whenever she was like, "Well, my mom bought a house when we were teenagers." Well, most of these single
Yeah.
moms out here don't get a chance to do
No.
that.
No.
So,
There's
and again, that's neither. I mean, it's interesting because she's talking about an equal opportunity, economic, blah blah blah
I don't
bullshit,
even
socialist
understand.
bullshit that she's talking about. All it is more taxes and giving more money out to people,
Well,
and
it's
then
yeah, more
people paying for
government
it in the
control.
back end, right? But it sounds good. That's the problem with all of these ideas is they're wrapped in this idea of compassion and
I just don't want all the government
idealism.
control,
I
man.
know.
Like,
I know.
that's not what we were built on. And
Nope.
it seems like the capitalism has changed so much since the 1900s. It's now what do they call it? They call it a corporatocracy, or you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so
I've had to
it's
work
not
on that
the
one.
original capitalism that we were founded on. It seems like,
Right.
I'm no
No.
expert, but
No, I'm not either. But no, and it's interesting because it's happened from all angles, like selling out to China, and then them believing that these billionaire, well, and big tech
yeah,
having such a role in like how we're even thinking and living, and then if you go down the rabbit hole with big tech, like the Amazon guy, Jeff Bezos.
uh
I mean, all of that was really invented to spy on us
yeah.
and to gather
There's
information.
that theory that the CIA set him up, kind of.
Yeah. So, which makes sense too.
Yeah,
They definitely have their tentacles in
it's an
everybody.
interesting theory for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. Quick, another little quick break. So this is just kind of a prelude to our little project here, our passion project, if you will.
Yeah.
We kind of jumped around today, but it's our first episode. We have no idea, once again, that
What we're
what we're
doing.
doing, but we're gonna figure it out.
And
Um,
also, it's like we sit around and discuss it so much, and we have so many questions, and we
yeah,
kind of bat back and forth, about
and
what's going on.
and we're probably wrong about all kinds of stuff, but
Absolutely,
we're trying to dig
100%.
in and we're trying to learn. So if
Yeah.
anybody's got any corrections or wants to
Or
put their
join
two
us.
cents in, we don't want to hear it.
We
No, I'm
don't
just
want to
kidding. I'm
hear.
just
Get to
kidding. I'm just
shut
kidding.
your mouth.
No,
That's
no,
what we're there
no. By
for.
all means, correct.
But yeah, so I think this is interesting. I think it's gonna be fun. I know that it's a way to get it off of our chest and out, because it's like, is anybody listening? And does anybody else see it? And I know on Facebook, a lot of my friends, we discuss things, and most of the people I grew up with in Grapevine High School all kind of feel the same way, and
No.
so that's encouraging. Um, I did go to, like I said, Michigan, where it's a swing state, and there was a lot of Trump signs. There's a lot of push for that. Not that Trump's the savior. That's not
Yeah,
what this is.
yeah.
It's just a wrench in the plans, right? It's just a pause to
It's
let people breathe and figure the shit out.
yeah. It's something different than the same establishment, politicians. So I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see, but I just want to also be able to encourage each other, that like this too shall pass. And even
Well,
if Kamala wins, there is somebody else in charge, not somebody, but a being
my
and a
thing
power.
is like, think for yourselves,
Yeah.
man. We're a country built on free thinkers, for sure.
Common sense,
And
dude.
so when you start to realize how big the propaganda is and how influential. It's mind blowing, man.
Well, it's mind blowing too that all of the basic rules are just right there in the word, or any word, any divine
Yeah.
inspired word. I mean, you have, money is the corruption. The money is the source of all evil. Money corrupts all. Power corrupts. I mean, these little things grew up. It's like they weren't following the rules, and now we're just now seeing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just it's wild, and there's so many other places. Like I said, the media has completely changed the media landscape, and
Oh,
I
that's
listen to
another fun
podcasts more
one.
than anything
Yeah, I do
now,
too.
just to get, especially to get information. So
That's
it's
another good subject though, is the media too. And like the
oh yeah,
revelation
oh
that
yeah,
that we were under such propaganda.
yeah.
I had no idea.
And I always knew, like from hearing about World War II, I always knew that you know, what's his name, Joseph Goebbels, and how influential the propaganda was, and
I don't even know who that is.
he was one of his close right hand man,
Okay.
but he was in charge of the propaganda to the
Yeah.
people, and you think like, how did they get so brainwashed for that? And then you look around today, and I'm like, oh,
I know.
kind of
You're
see it going
so
on now,
right.
with a lot of the stuff that's getting fed out there.
Yeah.
So I didn't,
Yeah.
I just didn't realize,
They're working in tangent.
I didn't realize how effective it was, and
Yeah.
I've always been a trendsetter, so
Oh Lord
I never really
Jesus.
followed
What
the
a
trend.
retard. But yeah, that's what we're gonna
I
do.
don't know.
But we'll figure it out together.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right.
Take care.
Pray.